You know the feeling. You sit down at your desk, but you just can't seem to focus. Or maybe you are able to focus for a few seconds and now you're not focused anymore. So you get up to make yet another cup of coffee, but that just makes you jittery and unfocused. We all know this feeling. That's why I wanted to make this video giving you 7 different ways that you can stay focused and avoid distractions. The first 2 have to do with your phone, and the next 5 have to do with how you organize your tasks. So let's get to it. Number 1, leave your phone away from your desk. I put this one as number 1 for a reason. We all know the feeling of constantly being distracted by our phone while we work. The best solution that I have found is to just leave it away from your desk, so far away that you have to get up to go get it. If we can't pick it up without getting out of our chair, we are far less likely to pick it up, unless you are sitting in a very uncomfortable chair. The less likely we are to pick it up, the less distractions we are likely to have, and the less distractions we have, the more focused we stay. Number 2, set a time limit for your social media apps. If you have an addiction to scrolling, which we all do, by the way, the siren call of your phone might be too much to stay away from. Even if you leave your phone away from your desk, and even if it's on silent, you might still be craving to get out of your chair to see if somebody called you, if somebody texted you, if somebody DM'd you, what's going on in the world. Oh my God, I need to get out of my chair and I need to go check my phone right now, even though there's no notifications going off. But one solution to this problem, other than just deleting the social media apps on your phone, which is also a very good tip, but it's not the tip that I chose to share because it is very difficult to do for most people. The tip that I am sharing is to set a limit on your social media apps on your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can go to settings, then you can go to screen time, and then you can go to app limits, and then you can add a limit for your social media apps. You can add a collective limit for, let's say, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, LinkedIn all together. So if you collectively spend more than 30 minutes on those 5 social media apps collectively, then they all shut down. Now, granted, it is very easy to just bypass this. You can change the setting. You can literally click a button that says ignore limit for today. But just having that page come up that blocks you and says you have reached your limit, that will make you very aware of how much time you spend on your phone, and you will be forced to somewhat shamefully click on the button that says, I want to bypass the limit that I set for myself. It is only noon and I have already reached my limit. And so when you see those pages coming up, whether it's at noon or at 8 p.m., you know very well how much time you're spending on your phone, and that can make you more consciously aware of how much time you're spending scrolling away your life. And also, if you want to delete social media off your phone, you can always check social media on your computer. If you do this, you might find that your productivity will skyrocket, as well as probably your happiness. Number 3, list your to-do tasks in order. When we have a clear list of what tasks we have to do, and we have organized them in the order that we are going to do them in, based primarily on urgency and importance, then while we're doing one task, we're not thinking about what tasks do I have to do? Am I doing the important tasks? We are less likely to get overwhelmed, and we are more seamlessly able to move from one task to the next, to the next, to the next, without being stressed out and worrying over whether we're doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, and if something is falling through the cracks. This also really helps you fight procrastination because you're not wasting your time thinking about and stressing about and worrying about and ruminating about what tasks you have to do because they're on the paper. And so you just jump from one task to the next, to the next, to the next. And obviously things come up throughout the day, but for the most part, you have your list of things that you are going to do. And that creates a lot of order and a lot of calmness in your day-to-day life. Number 4, give yourself a time limit for each task that you do. So when you have your to-do list, like I talked about earlier, you can say, okay, this task I'm only going to do from 9 to 11. And once 11 hits, I am going to move on to the next task from 11 to 1. And once 1 hits, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to have lunch and I'm going to take a break. And then I won't start my next task until 3 o'clock, and then I'm going to stop at 5 or whatever. This gives you even more structure than just having a to-do list based on importance and urgency, because it keeps you from getting lost on just one thing and then allowing the other 7 things that you have to do to fall through the cracks. So this way you ensure that you are on top of every single thing that you need to be on top of that's important to you, and you don't let 1 or 2 of those things fall through the cracks. Number 5, set clear tasks. It's important to be clear and specific when we set our tasks on our to-do list. When your task is vague, it leads to procrastination because you don't know exactly what it is that you have to do, and then you just spend time, you waste time trying to figure out what it is that you need to do because your task is so vague. So for example, a task like work on my book is really vague and you don't really know exactly what work it is that you're doing on your book. But a specific and clear task, like for example, write chapter 1 of my book on productivity, chapter 1 being my 4-step morning routine, is much more clear and much more concise and much less likely to lead to procrastination and overwhelm like a vague task would. Number 6, batch similar tasks together. Batching tasks means that you group the tasks that you are going to do by categories. So for example, if you have tasks regarding different projects, it's not a bad idea to batch the tasks related to a single project together and to do those together. That way, when you're doing those tasks, your mind is completely immersed in that project and it's not jumping from project to project to project to project. It's being immersed completely in that project, jumping from task to task to task to task within that project, and that leads to overall a better work product, less overwhelmed because you're just staying within the same realm, within the same project, and you end up doing a better job because you start making connections between the different tasks because your mind is completely within that one project. And then once you're done with that, you move on to the next one and it's the same thing and then over and over again. Batching tasks like this helps us stay organized and helps create order in our own mind. And finally, number 7, break down your big tasks into smaller tasks. A big task like write my research paper can be vague and honestly a little bit overwhelming and even intimidating. But a set of broken down specific tasks like write the outline for the introduction of my research paper or use my outline for the introduction of my research paper to write the introduction of my research paper is a much more doable task and it's much less overwhelming. And because we're less overwhelmed, we tend to procrastinate less and we tend to be less distracted. One of the biggest causes for distractions is overwhelm. And so when we break down tasks, we reduce overwhelm, and as a result of that, we also reduce distractions. And as a result of that, we increase productivity, we increase the quality of our work product, and so on and so forth. Now, one last thing that I didn't mention is that willpower alone is usually not enough to stay focused and avoid distractions. In fact, willpower can often be very overrated, and there is something that works way better than willpower. I made a video about that you can click right here if you want to go check that out. And as always, if you enjoy this content and would like to see more of it, make sure to subscribe. And if you want as well, click the link below to sign up for my email newsletter where I send you content like this via email every Monday to get you started for the week. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.